everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Candice Latham, and this channel is all about helping you become the hero of your own lives and navigate adulthood a bit easier in regards to your finances, your habits, and your mindset. Now today I'm switching things up because I believe it's important to share other people's money story, and so I have a wonderful guest with us here. She's going to share her story with us, Alexandria. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm doing a giveaway, so I'm excited. I'm going to be giving away one of my Hero in Your Finances workbook and growth planner, 12-month workbook. It's going to be the spiral edition I'm giving away.
So when mine comes in the mail, I'm going to be featuring it on my page. So I'm going to do some activities, and so if they're following me, then they'll get to see.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So so let me tell you guys the rules on how to enter this giveaway. So make sure you are following both of us on Instagram. I'm going to leave our names at the bottom, but Alexandria's Instagram name is at Who Gets the Budget. Mine is at Everything Candice Latham, and I'm going to leave that in the description box below. And then number 2, make sure that you comment below this video and let us know what is your favorite money lesson from this video and why it is your favorite money lesson. Of course. So I'm just going to briefly read your bio. So Alexandria is a mom to 2 daughters, 10 and 4, who is working towards enhancing her financial literacy and finances. She served in the Army for 7 years. She currently works for the government and is finishing up her master's this week. Alexandria is a divorcee who created the brand Who Gets the Budget to share her story to inspire others to secure their finances despite their situation. So welcome here to the channel.
Yes.
So your brand is called Who Gets the Budget, which is inspired by your own personal divorce in which you chose to start completely over with your 2 kids in a budget. Yes. So when you say completely over, you mean like you left with $0?
So I did have some money, not much. I do get disability from the military, so I was kind of saving a few of those checks here and there. But the relationship that I was in was very controlling. So a lot of what I had to kind of be stuff that I was putting on the side. It wasn't much money. When I say left with nothing, at the time I had a home, I had a husband, I had the kids, we had our things. I left with our clothes and my car.
Wow.
Yeah. At the time we were in Missouri, I called my sister, who I'm very close with, and I flew her out to Springfield, Missouri. And I told her, it's time for me to go. Like, I need your help. So I flew her in, and we drove from Missouri with my kids, our clothes, and my car back to Arizona, where I'm from. And I started over. I didn't really have too much of a plan as to what I was gonna do, what was next for me. But I didn't want my tomorrow to be the way that it was that day. And so I just made a choice and I left.
Okay. So, wow, that's awesome that you realized that, something had to change.
Yeah.
But when you were married, did you have like your own separate savings account? Like, how did the finances work?
So, and that's why another reason why I started the platform. When I met my husband, we were both dual military. I had, at the time, I was very stable in my own life. It was a conversation that I needed to get out of the Army and home. To backtrack, my oldest, her dad is from different than my ex-husband, but we have a really good co-parenting. And in that, it was decided that I needed to get out and stay home and raise our youngest. So I didn't have anything of my own.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had nothing of my own. I was a full-time mom. I was staying at home. And when things got to the point where I knew that this was not the life that I wanted for me or my children, I was working on the weekends. So I was staying at home Monday through Friday, and then I had a job where I worked part-time on the weekends to kind of, start something. That was hard because of the type of relationship that I was in. So then I filed for my disability, and I kind of had to keep that to myself and go from there. So
do you feel like that's like money lesson number 1?
For sure. I hear so many women, a lot of times they say that if you have your own savings account and that it's like you're planning for your divorce. That's the that they have. For me, the reality is that you never go into a marriage, a relationship, a partnership thinking that it's going to end. But
Mm-hmm.
also don't have control over absolutely everything that happens.
That's
And
true.
had I done things differently, I would have had a conversation. I wouldn't have hit it, but I would have set a guideline and saying, hey, I think it's important that we both do have our own separate means of security in the
Okay.
event that something goes wrong. I think that if you have a strong partnership, that could work. And if you don't, and if there are trust issues from jump and other things, and of course that might be a red flag. But it's not realistic, especially with the divorce rates and separation rates today, even in the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
for us to not be prepared.
Yes, I think people could have, even if they still have a joint account, they could still have like their individual savings account as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, earlier we spoke about how some women think that a divorce is the end of the world. Now, so what made you kind of choose a different thought and decide to leave the relationship that was no longer working for you, and that this doesn't have to be the end of the world?
Um, as a mom, and I was raised in a home with two parents, I very much sought out a man like my father. I love my father very much. My
Mm-hmm.
parents are still together, but there are quirks there that if I married my father, I'd be in the same situation I'm in now, someone just like him, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I had to ask myself, do I want my children to grow up thinking that this is normal? And do I
Mm.
want them to grow up seeking a man um, like what they see that
Yep.
I'm? The answer to that was no. A very strong no. And so for that, it wasn't the end of the world. I mean, there's so many women who are successful that are raising kids by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
that are having strong careers by themselves, that are able to maintain their finances, work their goals. I work full time. I raise my two kids, and I am finishing my master's. And I'm
Oh,
not.
congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. Is it hard? Yes. Sometimes I have bags under my eyes, but I'm also not in a situation where I'm questioning my self-worth, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel safe, or I'm unhappy. And
Mm.
so sometimes we have to weigh, and I think mental health and our safety is very important. And if that means that we have to do what we got to do, we just got to do it. And it's possible. Um, it's scary. It is
Mm-hmm.
very scary, but it's possible. And there's so many of us that are doing it. And
Yeah.
there's more fish in the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't like to always, people don't always like to think about it, but ideally, I mean,
That's true.
you'll meet
Yeah.
someone, it'll happen, and start over again.
Yeah, I love that. So that's kind of like, maybe that is, do you think that's lesson number two? Like just having the mindset to believe that it is possible. Like if you're in a situation that isn't healthy for you relationship wise, that you can leave, you can start over. There's other fish in the sea. And, even if you don't find a fish right away, you can do it by
Yeah,
yourself.
I think that for me, that's a big thing. Especially when I talk to women, they say, "Well, you're going to be alone. How are you going to do all this by yourself?" You do it. You
You
figure it
do it. It's possible. You figure it out.
out. Yep,
Yes, I
you
love
figure it
that.
out. Than what you think, for sure. I mean,
Yes,
you will find out things about yourself when you're going through hard things that you never imagined, and you are definitely stronger than what you think you are.
I
And
love that.
so,
So, okay, so you moved out, you're back in Arizona now. Like, how did you start working? Like, how did you start making money?
okay, so rough. So when I moved here, I got a job teaching high school.
Okay.
Um, and girl, I was making $28,000 a year.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you have two kids to feed still.
Yes.
Still
So
two
mind you,
kids.
I won't be unrealistic. I won't be one of those money stories where they don't tell you everything. So I was making $28,000 a year. I had a VA
Hmm.
that came in about $1,800 a month that I
Okay.
get, and then I did get about $500 in support. So
Okay.
I was on like the 30-40 spectrum
Okay.
after taxes. And so it was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, though, what was neat was I was making significantly less, but that was the time that I saved my first $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was living very frugal. And at that time, like I said, you're stronger than what you think. So I was being very diligent to track every single dollar that was coming in the house and be very mindful of what we were spending. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
So how did that start? Did it start with you just like writing down what you were spending, looking over your bank statements to see like where the money was going and cutting out what you didn't need?
so I was a teacher and I came across the book Broke Millennial by Erin Lowry.
Oh, I love Aaron.
I reached out to her and I said, hey, because I worked in a very poor school, and I said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I want to read this book. I taught English language arts. I want to do something different with my class. We don't read about finances. My kids are tired of Shakespeare. Will you sponsor us? So
Mm-hmm.
she sent every single student a signed copy of my book, of that book.
Wow.
And
That's
we read,
awesome.
yeah, she's amazing. And we read it, and that jump started my finances. At that time, I downloaded Every Dollar app. I still use
Mm-hmm.
it today. And I just started tracking, and we were living on very minimal. My goal was, okay, we have to get something in the bank first in case,
Mm-hmm.
because this cannot be here forever. Like, we have to get something.
Yep.
So, penny pinching, like very much so. I saved my first 10 gram. Then I got an offer to move over and teach or be a director for a preschool. It was not a good fit. I was not happy there. It just wasn't a good fit. And so I left.
Okay. So you left without having like anything.
Yeah.
You didn't know what was next. You
I
left.
had nothing lined up.
Okay.
Take into account, after being in that marriage, I was at a very place in my life where if I was not happy, if my mental was not right, if I did not feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, I was out of there.
Okay.
I would figure it out. So I
Mm-hmm.
had about 12 grand. And I said,
Okay.
oh, I can live off of this until I find a job, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to be miserable. I don't care if it's with a job or a man. Like, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I applied for a government job and I got that. I had to redo my clearance because it had expired like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I actually got the job. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 months that I was out of work,
Okay.
and I just
So
was,
you lived off of your savings.
yeah, which is why
Wow.
you need a savings.
This is why you need a savings. Oh wow. Okay. So we
And
unpacked a lot there. So lesson number 3 is about living frugally and building so you can build your
right.
savings.
Because when I hear like financial influencers say the FU fund, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
real. Okay.
Yeah.
It's real. I came into work that day and I was like, no. Like, I literally sat at my desk. I was the director. I sat at my desk and I was like looking around, and I called my sister and I said, I can't do this. And I started to cry a little bit, and she's like, why are you
Mm-hmm.
crying? And I'm like, I just can't do this. Like, I'm miserable. It was not a
Yep.
good fit. And
Okay.
I'm just like, I'm leaving. And I got my stuff.
Oh
And it's
wow.
not like me. I'm a 2-week notice type of gal. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I was out of there. I picked up my stuff and I left with no plan. And everyone's like,
What are you doing? But yeah, like so savings gave you that confidence.
it did. And it wasn't a lot of savings, but we were fine. You know,
Yeah.
our life remained the same. I lived on like we did, and I got this new job.
Mm-hmm.
And so the plan now is I'm rebuilding, obviously, because I was out of work for those 2 months and I was
Yep.
paying everything for my savings, house
Okay.
note, all of that. I don't have any debt other than my car. So I do have a car loan.
Oh, that's awesome.
But my bills are kind of my most expensive thing is my house. It's rent out here is insane. It's like $1,200 for my house. But other than
Okay.
that, I don't have major bills. I have no student loans, um,
Nice.
because I was in the military, so I did take advantage of that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm just rebuilding. Yeah.
That's awesome that you were able to save. Okay, so you're rebuilding because when you had to live on your own without the job, so you're living off the savings, so you're rebuilding that. I guess what is like the final money lesson for you that you would have for anybody who is currently going through a divorce, and they're just, still trying to figure things out?
For me, it's don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. I know that it's going to be hard. And I'm not where I want to be. I gave you my savings account amount and I'm like, it's crap. And you're like, girl, you're fine. You know?
Yeah, I think we all start somewhere, you know?
You have to start somewhere. And for me, it's been a lot of transition. But life is too short. Like, life is so short that in order for us to live a life where we are not in any position that we are not safe in, not happy in, not being taken care of, we have to be able to get ourselves out of that a situation. And for me, having my finances is what allowed that. So if you're living in fear, if you're in a situation that is not healthy for you, or even it may not even be a bad situation, but you just it's not for you. Use that as a driving force to make tomorrow better than it is today. And
I love that.
You have to save something. You have to, before you even do that, you have to understand money. Read some books. Like there's so many like books that are written for millennials and written in a way that's not boring. I mean, Erin Lowry related finances to like Tinder dating, I think, in her book. There was like
like they found a way to make money fun, you know?
Yeah. And so it doesn't have to be boring. Pick up a book. If you reach out to, there's so many of us on Instagram, obviously new, but people who are excited about money and wanting you to have the life that they have. It's not a jealous community, at least what I've seen. There's enough for all of us. And just start somewhere, because you, like, everyone preaches about this FU fund, like it's real. Like
it's definitely real.
I use mine.
And it's come to save you. I've actually met the girl that created. I know her. The girl, her name is escaping right now, but like the girl who actually created the name of the FE Fund.
It's so real. Listen to some podcasts. I have an appointment every day. I listen to at least 2 financial podcasts to gain my literacy. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning this game. Go to conferences when I can. I'm going to the financial summit in St. Louis. I'm super excited.
Oh, nice. That is exciting. So you're educating yourself. And you're continuing, because you're never done learning. I think people think that, like, you know, like you're done after you graduate college, but no, it's not it. You have to continue to keep learning and keep bettering yourself.
Keep going, keep moving, and just don't move in fear.
I like that. So those are our 4 money lessons. We're doing a giveaway, so I'm excited. I'm going to be giving away one of my Hero in Your Finances workbook and growth planner 12-month workbook. It's going to be the spiral edition I'm giving away.
So when mine comes in the mail, I'm going to be featuring it on my page. So I'm going to do some like activities. And so if they're following me, then they'll get to see.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So so let me tell you guys the rules on how to enter this giveaway. So make sure you are following both of us on Instagram. I'm going to leave our names at the bottom, but Alexandria's Instagram name is at Who Gets the Budget. Mine is at Everything Candice Latham. And we're going to leave that in the description box below. And then number 2, make sure that you comment below this video and let us know what is your favorite money lesson from this video and why it is your favorite money lesson. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Alexandria. I definitely appreciate you for taking the time to share your story with us. Those are some great tips, and I feel like it will help someone. Someone out there is going to be inspired by your story.
We always talk about those of them who have like joint accounts and dual incomes and this happy couple who's maintained their finances. And there are some who are like, wait a minute. I had to figure this out on my own.
That's true.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of, navigate that world as well.
No, I think that's why it's so important to share other people's stories. So thank you again for being here to share your story.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.